glass blowing for pot smoking, pipes and bongs and all that. It started in Eugene, Oregon. All right, so the year was about, must have been about 95 or 96, somewhere in there. And I was, had this apartment, and then that was kind of falling apart because of, I had been selling weed, and then I had been doing these bank loans, and then the freaking bank loan thing fell apart, and I had already turned over all my weed customers to other people, so I was pretty much effed, for the lack of a better term. And I had this really nice furniture that my mother had forever. It was like our family furniture. It was some wood furniture, solid wood furniture. It probably was given to her as a marriage present when she married my dad, because I remember it in its first incarnation in this little house we lived in. And then, so my mom remodeled this. My mom and stepdad remodeled a houseboat. So right as the houseboat was getting done, my mother took this old furniture, which the old furniture consisted of couch, love seat, a chair or two, a rocker, a coffee table, maybe an end table or two. Yeah, end tables, like with cabinets, end table style. She took all this stuff and refinished it all, from like wood stain to painted white, which my mother really freaking, I don't know what the term, so I guess pissed off, confused a lot of people when she had this beautiful tongue and groove wood ceiling installed in the houseboat, and then had it all painted white. She was just into this white wood look. And then the cushions were like white and blue, okay? So it was nice furniture, but you know, she had redone it in probably like, you know, she had probably originally got it in the 70s. Yeah, in the 60s maybe. Yeah, probably the 60s. Because she was married to my dad forever before they had me. The furniture was quite possibly from the 60s. So she redid it in the 80s, and that was probably like 85 or something like that. Now we're in 95. I know this girl, which these are the stories. It was like, God, I never told the stories about this. So this girl and her boyfriend I met, originally I met them at a country fair. So I don't remember her name, but I have actually seen the boyfriend in recent years, the original boyfriend. So I met him, and I was at the country fair with Julie, and I might have told this story, I can't remember, but basically Julie and I had like $100 to go to the country fair. That was it. And so what we did with that $100 was we spent it on beer and cigarettes. I think we had like our tickets or something like that. Like we had like our tickets, but like all the spending money was all we had was $100, right? So, and then, so I just sold beer. It was the beer sold the first couple days, and the cigarettes sold the last day. And so in my journeys, which I had like a backpack full of ice, and I was just walking around the country fair, slinging beers right out in the open. Well, there was this couple that was on acid, like just sitting in this one spot, and like me and Julie were just doing laps. And I think that's my thing. Like, I'm not really a sit still type of person very much. Like, I like when I'm out and about, I'm just out doing stuff and bouncing around. Especially like these festivals, I'm just walking laps, you know. I'm not just sitting there, you know. But anyway, I mean, I sit down on occasions to get stoned, But anyway, we just become friendly with this couple, and you know, I'm a weed dealer, so I'm always looking for, you know, cool people to sell to, and so I ended up freaking hooking up with these people and selling weed to them and stuff. She was like a stripper or something, or no, she was like a dominatrix maybe. She had ads in the TNA Times, which was old school to Portland. She had ads in Exotic Magazine that people would call for escort. That's what she was escorting. She was escorting, and the boyfriend, like, he was like a worker dude, but he had like been in Alaska working on a boat, and the boat smashed his hand. So he had this totally like surgery hand repaired type thing going on. I mean, that dude, this is way before medical marijuana, but that dude would have totally been valid for medical marijuana. I knew this couple for years, and I got a bunch of stories about it. I don't know why. They broke up. She hooked up with this other dude. She always had huge houses. I mean, ridiculous, like freaking, but didn't own them. So she was just always just pissing money away like crazy. She had moved into this house up in the West Hills. Fancy house. Now, she's just a freaking lunatic, really. Because to think about what her business was, and then to rent a house literally right across the street from landlords. I mean, she was just so brazen. I mean, she would literally have escorts showing up to her house at all hours of the night. And she was hardcore partying too. She was doing these things called Primo cigars or Primo cigarettes or something like this. Well, it's some kind of cigar paper, and then pot, and then crack. Her and that boyfriend of hers, and then any escorts that would, you know, I mean, it was just insane, really. And it was right across the street from landlords. So anyway, I had just got back from on the run. I'm in that house. I'm in my apartment. I really don't have much going on. And Chris, the manager, Chris, was like, hey, there's this dude, and he brings this dude over. Dude actually is like hooked up with a chick that's staying in these apartments, right? So this dude, now I gotta tell a whole other story to validate this thing. So glass blowing for pot smoking, pipes and bongs and all that shit. Started in Eugene, Oregon. This guy, Bob Snodgrass, okay? He's the OG of it all, right? So he started it, but then, like everything, people learn and copy and steal and whatever you want to call it. And so there started to be this little industry blooming around this, right? So there was one company in particular, and its name was Dragon Tail, I believe, and they were really freaking aggressive. So they had a real hip family hippie typey couple that was on the road with the Grateful Dead. They were that was their job, that was their end, is they were on the road with the Grateful Dead, and they had a booth, and in that booth they sold this glass. Now, The other end of the company was in Eugene. And they had, I don't know, I think they had like 19 houses. So they would literally just rent or buy a house. I'm not quite sure about that end of it. But they'd have this house, and then they'd just hire local Eugene dudes to fucking blow glass 24/7. And, you know, I never saw, so this is all secondhand information about, like, how these was worked, but, like, the Dragon Tail was, like, the meth junkie fucking partier dude scene, whereas there was a lot of other, like, people that were connected more directly with Snodgrass that weren't meth, that weren't, you know, huge production, you know, because there's more than one way. And when I blew glass, you know, you could either spend, you know, freaking literally days on something, making Milli Furies and making freaking all these different, I don't even remember the damn Latticino rods, and I don't even remember all the damn terms for everything, little marbles and shit. Just in all this in preparation to put together in just like some huge masterpiece, and, you know, work out one piece a day, and then at the end of like a week you're sticking the whole thing together. You know, that's when I would do never that level, but where my bread and butter came in was just pumping stuff out, right? Not being on meth, but just, you know, more production stuff. And that's kind of where I learned, really, because I learned from the Dragon Tail crew about production level stuff, right? So, you know, how to frickin' just go fast, right? And I mean, with them, it was just like, grab a tube, and they had just welding torches, not fancy glass blowing torches, and they just heat that tube up. They'd hit it with a little fume of silver, maybe a little fume of gold. Then they just wrap some clear around that and do some drags or some rakes on that, and then melt it in and shape it out all in the same step. So, you know, and push the bowl, pop the hole, and cut the thing, you know, grab it with tongs on the other end and spin a mouthpiece off, drop it in the kiln, and you're done. And sometimes, you know, they'd have a little North Star color they'd throw in there, but really they were all about production. So when this dude came into my apartment and he was like, hey, I'll teach you how to blow glass if you buy all the equipment to set up a glass blowing shop. So there was like a little shop set up over in Southeast Portland with some guys in a backyard. It was kind of sketchy, but everybody was just like making whatever they could make and then going down like on the weekends to the festival, or during the weekdays hitting up all the head shops. Like the head shops were just, you know, they would just cash out right there at wholesale. In the early days, though, I mean, the stuff was super rare, and it would just, you know, you could just sell whatever. I mean, just straight up crap. I sold every freaking piece I ever made. I mean, I think I have one piece left that's like 20 fucking years old or something. I get hooked up with this dude, and it's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. Now I'm gonna do this glass blowing thing, because I can just fucking hide up in a thing, come out with my shit that's not even illegal, be hidden from all this warrants and bullshit that I got hanging over my head. Awesome. Perfect. So I gave escort girl the furniture. So when my mom went to Spain, she left everything with me, right? And, you know, I was so fucking young. I basically think I fucked off most of it, lost some of it. You know, I think I had a storage unit at one point that I had left a bunch of shit in, and then just didn't pay the fucking bill. And so lost a bunch of my mom's lifelong heirlooms because she didn't fucking like mark the box like very important, something I really don't want to lose. Like, it's just a bunch of shit, you know. I don't know what's good, what's not, you know. There's no notes, there's no fucking boxes written on, nothing. So and I think, right, because of that, she held that fucking, and then she fucking spited me when I sent from prison. I took some really cool pictures of some fucking work I did in there, and I sent her a fucking really badass leather purse or a case for a camera or something, whatever, nice leather thing, and she just lost. Yeah, I'm sure she just threw it away in a drunken rage. So anyway, the furniture got me, I don't remember exactly how many months rent that got me. It got me months rent. And that month, those months, I don't remember, 6, 3, 4, 5, 2, no. It was probably 3 or 6 or something like in there. I used that time to learn how to blow glass good enough to make a living out of it. I started and it was like, you know, it's kind of takes a while to learn. And I was really motivated to learn fast because just saw it as being a really lucrative business to get into that would be nice and mellow, right? That would fit right in with selling weed, a little selling weed to some people. You know, it was easy to get a little weed, sell it to a few people instead of, you know, just trying to make every single dollar. You know, the weed was so expensive. I was just happy to like smoke for free at that point, you know? And I didn't want to go to prison. I didn't want to get busted. And I was happy to be doing something that I could kind of consider legitimate, you know? I mean, legitimate as far as like weed selling at that point, as though even though I treated it like a business, it still was illegal. The pipes were a gray area. They were fine under Clinton. And then when the Nazis took over, they put fucking Chong in prison behind that shit. So, yeah, that's what happens when you let Nazis take over.